Do you know what it means to be a motherless daughter? Did you know you can have mother loss without mother death? Mother loss comes in many forms, and Motherless Daughters Ministry is here to help you navigate through your particular mother loss. While you are unique, you are definitely not alone. We have 20 years worth of pearls of wisdom to help you on your mother loss journey, and we are sharing all of these pearls with you through this very podcast, Nurturing Words, Voices of Experience, sponsored lovingly by Motherless Daughters Ministry.
Hello, I'm Gladys Bell, your host. If you are new to our podcast, welcome. We are so pleased you found us. We are a nonprofit ministry focused on serving women who have lost or missed the loving care of a mother. You can find out more information about our ministry through the links in our show notes. If you are a returning listener, we'd like to say thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope you're encouraged by our episodes. If you enjoy them, won't you take a moment to rate and review our programming on whatever platform you use? This simple task helps make sure our podcast reaches those who can use an encouraging word. Also, if you would like to support our podcast and ministry, check out the show notes for ways to donate and become involved. Before we get started with today's episode, I'd like to highlight some new offerings for our ministry. We've offered one-on-one coaching now for a while, but we recently have added some new specialized options. We have offerings for recent loss, mother loss by suicide, daughters of narcissistic mothers, forgiveness, life skills, and more. Check our show notes for more information about coaching. Today's episode focuses on a story from one of our blog writers, Dottie Menkhaus, who at the time struggled to face reality and deal with her grief. Instead, she tried to ignore it as many of us do. This episode focuses on the importance of dealing with our grief and discussing it with others in community.
One day, a small lump appeared in the middle of the living room carpet. It was about the size of a golf ball. We had to be careful to not trip over it as we walked through the house. As the days passed, it grew larger and larger. A small annoyance became a large problem. After months of stepping around and climbing over the lump, it grew too large to manage. Then we discovered that the lump was a volcano that was forming in the middle of the house. The volcano was beginning to overtake everything, so we left and went miles away to a friend's house. We could see the volcano from there. There was a loud boom in the distance as the volcano exploded. It was then that I remembered that I left my cat George behind. I startled awake as George jumped on my bed. I hugged him. It was just another nightmare. I was 12 when I had this dream. At the time, my mother had found a small lump in her breast. It turned out to be breast cancer. I didn't quite know how to handle her diagnosis, so I just brushed it under the rug and tried to pretend that everything was fine, normal. I stepped around the lump that was disrupting the household. That worked until Mom lost her hair. It then became real. As the reality of Mom's diagnosis became more difficult, I tried to push the lump under the rug by telling Mom that I didn't want any pictures taken of her without hair. In my 12-year-old mind, if there were no pictures, it didn't happen. Maybe then the painful memories would be erased. My mother respected my wishes, but she was also strong and defiant. She would not let her hair define her. She had a wig, but only wore it occasionally. It was hot, itchy, and uncomfortable. While most women would wear a headscarf, that just wasn't Mom's style. She preferred to wear a baseball cap. My mother worked backstage at my dance recitals. That year, a boy was roaming around where he shouldn't be. My mom, who worked at the school library, recognized him as one of the school troublemakers. When she told him to move along, he tried to get smart with her and look under her ball cap. She said, "You want to see what's under my hat? Well, here you go." And with that, she whipped off her hat, revealing her bald head. The boy, wide-eyed, moved along. He never gave her any trouble in the library ever again. My mother couldn't be bothered by what people thought of her bald head, but I think my feelings about it hurt her. As an adult, I regret the way that I dealt with my mother's diagnosis. I know now that my words were hurtful. I remember a time at my grandparents' house when pictures were being taken in the living room. I saw my mom get up and go in the hallway. When someone asked what she was doing, she said, "Dottie doesn't want pictures of me without hair." I remember the pain in her eyes. Brushing the issue under the rug and avoiding it didn't solve anything. It didn't make it better. Mom still had cancer. Now that she's gone, I wish I had more pictures of her, even if they would be of her without hair. At various times, I think of the volcano dream and how it relates to life. I've been thinking of it a lot lately with the current events happening in this country. Had I made more of an effort to understand what my mother was going through, maybe I would have understood her pain and responded better. Honest conversations with my mother about her diagnosis, dying, and her fears would have been healing to us both. We could have helped each other instead of avoiding the issue. If we don't address the growing volcanoes in our lives, they will explode.
We're going to take a short break to tell you about a resource, and then we'll come right back to our guest.
The easiest and quickest way for you to get in touch with us and find out all that the ministry has to offer is through our refreshed website. Oh, who are we kidding? We did a complete overhaul. We're a bit partial, but it's awesome. On our website, you can read our blog with posts written by fellow motherless daughters. You can check out our schedule of motherless daughter support groups and classes, all of which are available both virtually and in person. You can even find out how you can contribute your talents as a volunteer to help other motherless daughters. Visit our website at motherlessdaughtersministry.com. Poke around, leave us a live message with your questions or feedback. The web address again is motherlessdaughtersministry.com. We can't wait for you to visit.
And now, before we go, let's have a few reflections from our podcast administrator, Sarah Lynn Wells. This story comes from a powerful reflection written by Dottie. It begins with a dream, a vivid, surreal one, where a small lump appears in the middle of the living room carpet. At first, it's harmless, an inconvenience maybe. But as time passes, it grows, swelling until it's no longer something to step around. It becomes a full-blown volcano until one day it erupts. But then she wakes up. It was just a nightmare. But like most dreams, this one was speaking a truth. Because that's what we do sometimes when life throws us something too heavy, too complex, too real. We pretend. We suppress. We step around the lump, hoping it will go away if we just ignore it long enough. But here's reality. Avoidance doesn't erase the problem. It only gives it space to grow. As her mother's treatment progressed, the signs of cancer became harder to ignore. The most visible one? Hair loss. That was the moment it stopped being a concept and became real, tangible, uncomfortable. Dottie, in her 12-year-old mind, asked her mother not to take pictures without her hair. And her mother agreed, not because she was ashamed, but because she loved her daughter and respected her wishes. Sometimes the way we cope can hurt the ones we love, even when we don't mean to. Her mom wasn't afraid of being bald. In fact, she rocked it with a baseball cap, not because it was stylish, but because it was her. And when a mischievous boy tried to tease her, she took off her hat and stared him down with boldness and humor. That moment said everything about her strength, about her refusal to let cancer or anyone else define her. Yet Dottie saw years later how her own discomfort had silenced something beautiful. She recalls a moment at her grandparents' house. Pictures were being taken, and her mother slipped into the hallway, quietly saying, quote, "Dottie doesn't want pictures of me without hair," unquote. It wasn't angry, just sad. Silence often speaks louder than words and leaves deeper scars. As adults, we often look back at our younger selves with a mix of grace and regret. Dottie now wishes she had more photos of her mom, bald or not, more memories preserved, more courage to talk, to ask the hard questions, to face the fear of loss together. It's something many of us can relate to. So often, we avoid the difficult conversations about illness, about death, about pain. We hope that if we don't name the volcano, it won't erupt. But the truth is, what we don't confront eventually confronts us. Honest conversations don't make pain worse. They make it bearable. They build connection. They invite healing. Imagine what could have been different if Dottie and her mom had sat down and talked, really talked, about the fear, the anger, the grief. It wouldn't have changed the diagnosis, but it would have changed them. It would have made them stronger together instead of alone in their pain. And maybe that's the point of the volcano dream. We all have lumps we step over, grief we pretend isn't there, injustice we scroll past, a strained relationship we say, quote, "Isn't that bad," unquote. But left alone, these things grow slowly, quietly, until they're too big to ignore. Don't wait for the eruption. Face the volcano now, with honesty, with courage, and with love. It might be awkward, it might be painful, but it will also be real. And in that realness, there's freedom. Thank you, Dottie, for sharing your story and reminding us that love isn't just about comfort. It's about showing up, even when it's hard. If this story resonated with you, maybe today's the day to have that conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's time to look at your own volcano and say, quote, "I see you," unquote.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you are in need of more nurturing words and voices of experience, we encourage you to listen to our other episodes, hit subscribe, and come check out our Motherless Daughter resources on our website at motherlessdaughtersministry.com. You can also find us on our YouTube channel and in our Facebook community, Motherless Daughters Ministry. We hope you'll come visit us, and we look forward to you joining us again next time. Until then, stay well.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.